What are some strategies for emotionally detaching from the items that have sentimental value?
There isn't any.
Yeah.
You have to understand that life is letting go. It's just stuff.
It's just stuff.
It's just stuff.
Should we put that on a mug?
We should.
Welcome to Lawrence Real and Local, Keeping It Real podcast presented to you by the Lawrence Board of Realtors. We're your go-to source for all things real estate in Lawrence, Kansas. I'm Lexie Haskin with Flint Hills Mortgage.
And I'm Campbell Ragan with McGrew Real Estate. Together, we're here to make the journey to home ownership a breeze. Join us as we share insider insights, expert advice, and a dose of fun along the way.
Hello, welcome to Lawrence Real and Local, Keeping It Real podcast by the Lawrence Board of Realtors. And we are joined here today with Randy Walker with American Estate Sales. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we're pretty excited to hear some of the things that Randy has to say today. And he told us he has some pretty good stories too. So we're pretty looking forward to it. So let's just dive in. So can you walk us through the typical process of preparing for an estate sale?
Sure. The first thing is to get everything out that everybody wants, family and friends, establish that. Now, that's can be difficult for people because of being sentimental to their stuff and also trying to, within the family, trying to figure out what's important, what's not. That's a huge thing. The focus should be on that because I don't want to sell anything that you regret later. And you
can't get it back at that point.
Yeah, and you don't want that either. So what we do is we really emphasize that, and then after that has happened, where the friends, family, everybody that has any invested interest in the items, they remove that. That's when they should call the American Estate Sales or any estate sale company, and we then come in and look at what they have left. That way we get a better idea of what's there, what we can do for them, and we won't have this kind of situation where, well, this is going, this is staying, this is going, this is staying.
It's already gone, so everything that's there is staying.
Yes, and that's the first step. And to establish that, like I said, can be very difficult because of, again, family and everybody's decisions. And people are very attached to their stuff emotionally, and there's the rub.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And you probably have to handle some of those emotions too. And that's another part of your job description that isn't necessarily actually listed on the job description. This is a real people-oriented business, not only for my customers that buy, but the clients that I deal with. Most of the time, they're in a transition of one form or another, whether there's been a death in the family or they are downsizing. So they have a tendency to be pretty emotional at that period because nobody likes change.
Change is hard.
Yeah, change is very hard.
It is.
And it's we're very sensitive to that because that's again, another big deal. And they're going through probably some of the biggest changes of their life.
Absolutely.
A lot of times they've been in the environment for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And to move out of that is very upsetting. And so we try to express that it's okay to be upset.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel this way. It's okay to be sentimental. And a lot of it can be very upsetting. Sometimes they're downsizing. Sometimes there's one of the spouses have died and they have to move on to another transition, and that alone is upsetting. And so it's traumatic.
Yeah,
and it's something that everybody's going to go through.
Yeah,
but that's why I think it's good to be prepared. Ahead of time to find out, what you need to do before you get into a situation where you're very emotional and sometimes you don't make the right decisions.
Yeah.
So it's good to kind of pre-plan this, but that's also, difficult.
You can
for
only
people.
pre-plan so much in life, right?
Yeah. Sure. And people don't, it's one of those things that's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
They put it off. A lot of them put it off till they are back in a corner.
And then they can't do anything about it, and someone else is making those decisions.
Yes, yeah. And that's not where you want to be.
No.
So if you want to try to avoid that the best you can.
So I think you kind of already hit on the second question of some common challenges people face is just that they're going through a tough life transition a lot of the times. So we'll move on to the next one where When you go in, how do you kind of determine the value of some of those items once they do have it organized and, ready for you to actually come in?
Yeah, what you should be doing is probably first discovering what the expertise is as far as the company goes. In my case, I have been buying and selling stuff since I was 12. So
an expert.
I've seen a lot of stuff. So I started out as an antique collector and dealer, and then, it was collector, and then I had to deal to support my habit.
Yeah.
And it kind of grew from there. And so I fell in love with older stuff and fell in love with stuff that the secondary market. I was way ahead of everybody in the fact that I was looking at the secondary market as, well, I really couldn't afford retail. And so I would go into thrift stores and go into antique malls and such, and there was this stuff all over for not as much money as retail was. So it made sense to me, and I couldn't afford it anyway, so it just kind of fell into that. And that was also part of my education about, so I got very passionate about collecting, and so I've seen a lot of stuff. So you want a company that has had the experience, and that's important, that is just not, popped up somewhere, and, somebody that's been around the secondary market for a long time.
Yeah.
So I've seen so much stuff and there are some accreditations to appraisers. I don't think that's that necessary. I mean, some people, if you're getting into a high-end situation, possible, but usually those accreditations are somebody's handing them some money and they just give you an accreditation. I mean, the experience is what you want, not somebody that says, well, you did a course for 2 weeks, now you're accredited and now you can value stuff. I mean, that's there, but I don't see that as that important. I'd rather have somebody that's been around the secondary market and understands what it is, because that changes all the time too.
Yeah.
It changes quite frequently.
Changes as in pricing or items or
items.
both?
There's trends. Like, we get big hutches that we can't sell to save our lives. Because the traditions have changed. Nobody sits down and eats on Sunday. So a lot of the furniture and that sort of stuff, china, dishes, you can't sell them because nobody uses them any longer. They don't just.
They're going to use their everyday dishes for things.
They're not functional.
Yeah.
And so a lot of stuff is then priced out of the market because it's just there's no function to it.
Yeah.
And that could be a kind of a big deal. I mean, those are the trends that change.
That makes sense.
So it changes a lot, and somebody that's been around has experienced those changes. And I get a lot of people say, "Well, I've got a bunch of furniture," and I'm like, "Well, that's okay, but it's not. What kind is it?" And it's usually dated. Yeah. And you've got to lower the expectation to the client, because they bought it in 1975 and for $2,000. Now they think they're going to get their money back out. And they're just not.
Yeah.
A lot of the shows on TV makes it look like they got $1 million in the attic, and they just don't.
Yeah.
So that's an issue.
Yeah.
To understand that what you have is not a retail market. It's a secondary market.
Yeah.
And that's a different value. You're not going to sell it at a retail price.
So
this is a liquidation process.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
So with some of these things that you're selling too, do you see a lot of people come in and try and do flipping of the furniture? Do you ever get a lot of people that will come buy for the flipping?
Yes, I get my customers, they are very wide in their scope. They're either buying it to flip or they're buying it to resell. So I get a lot of resellers. We also get a lot of people that just like to collect stuff. And there's some people, I don't ask what they do with it.
Don't want to know.
No.
Don't ask,
well,
don't know.
I think they just fill up it. A lot of this it's the act, it's the journey, not the ends. So they just keep repeating that over and over again and end up calling me later and saying, I need an estate sale, Randy.
Yeah.
So it's and that's fine,
Yeah.
It's all types.
Yeah.
I get all, my customers are all, big variety of all types. They specialize in stuff. They're looking for certain stuff. I've got some KU guys. I've got, the furniture guys. I've got the jewelry people. So it's a big swath of interest that people have.
Do you contact them when you're getting ready to have an estate sale?
That was going to be my next
Well,
question.
what we do is we advertise in estatesales.net.
Okay.
There's a couple other premier places, but they're pretty much the big dog. Then we go into local advertising, which would be Craigslist, Facebook, the paper.
Yeah.
And then I'm famous for my neon signs that everybody sees, and so everybody knows it's me once they see the sign. So I've established kind of a brand there.
Gotcha.
And so that's how they find us, find me, and so it doesn't take long for the word to get out.
Yeah.
And I have a Facebook page, and it doesn't take long. Within literally minutes.
Yeah.
There's an exposure. So there's not a real. Some people do email certain clients or customers, but I don't see it that necessary.
Yeah.
They have a tendency to come.
Regardless of whether they're getting that email or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the people that come to estate sales, probably 80% of them have been to another one. So had been to one prior, so they kind of know what the thing is all about. Gotcha. I do draw like from the sign some individuals, but I've got a pretty big following at this point that follows me around.
So do you typically have the estate sales at the same time in the week? Like, is it towards the end of the week, always on the weekend?
Well, that's changed. It used to be weekend only. Now it's gotten into, and depending on the size too, it's got into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Oh, wow.
In fact, Wednesday and Thursday can be better than the weekend at this point. What we do is between a 2 and 4 day sale, depending on how big it is. And we do between about 9 and 4. And then, again, depending on how big it is, we'll go half off at some point. I won't go any lower than half. And they all know that I wheel and deal. So it's not, some companies will go to 75%, which is fine. But for me, it just makes it easier to do the half off. And then what we do is we're pretty good at selling everything. And by the end of the sale, if it hadn't sold, it's never going to sell. Because we've lowered the price to such a point that it usually does sell.
Yeah.
So what's left usually is what I call garage sale stuff, and we donate the cream of that and then dispose of the rest.
Okay.
Yeah. So that kind of gets in. I was going to ask if you do a lot of bartering when it comes to the prices. And do you do more bartering towards the end of the sale or even at the beginning if somebody's like, I have this amount in cash, will you take it?
So what my philosophy is you want to, let's say we have a 4 day sale, the first 2 days you hold pretty fast your initial price. I'm going to price it at a point where if it has to be half off, I'm kind of shooting for what I want as far as what the price I want out of the item. But after the half off, if somebody offers me something reasonable, I'll take it. My philosophy is I'd rather have the item sold than have it sit there at the end of the sale because my prices were too high. Some companies put exorbitant prices on it, and then they never really sell it. One of the things my company does is that we clean everything out at the end of the sale, which is very important. It's one of the most important aspects of this whole thing, and that's because mostly you'll find that the transition, the stuff in the house is an impediment to the next transition, whether you're selling the house or you're whatever you're doing with it, renting it out, doing the cosmetics to get it ready to sell. And the money's in the house, not in the contents.
They need the space back.
And by the time everybody takes everything they want out, the family does, not necessarily, but most states range between $4,000 and $20,000. That money is not. This sounds crazy to people, but that money is not as important as to the amount of money that's in the house, and it's an impediment to the sale. And you want to get to the sale. So what we do is we kind of unclog you so you can get to the next transition, because you're not going anywhere until you get rid of the contents, and that's the important thing. I tell all my clients that we're first and foremost a liquidator. We want to maximize as much as we can, but at the same time, we're back to the impediment and we want to get it out.
Assist in that transition.
And open them up so they can go to that transition, and that's the important thing.
Yeah. So what are some of the things, I know you said China is kind of hard to sell. Is there anything else that is just very difficult to sell?
Big furniture, pianos, huge pieces of furniture that like Chester freezers, that sort of stuff is tough.
Just because it's harder for people to haul off.
Yeah, it's harder for them
to have a place for it.
Yeah, they've got to have a place for it, and then it's hard for them to get it out. Like I said, traditions have changed, spaces have changed.
Yeah.
Big furniture is kind of on the way out. It's not that, a lot of this is really dated. So it's, I've sold some ginormous pieces, but at a pretty low cost too, because it's what the market's going to bear.
Yeah.
And if it's cheap enough, you'll get some people to do it. Otherwise, they'll just look at it and go, well, that's great. Thank you very much. And that's not, and again, I clear everything out. So I have an impetus to want to get it out because I have to remove it later.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want to do. I want you to move it out so I don't have to and get money from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think a common misconception is this even a misconception, that you have to pay cash when you go to an estate sale?
Most estate sales will do cash or check, and then I do cash and check only. Now, some do Venmo, some do cards. Again, like all cards, they then pass on the 3% to usually the buyer, which is not, that's an issue in my mind. It's convenient, but everybody in that, the customers kind of know, most of them, it's a cash and kind of check thing. Checks are cash is king.
Yeah.
That way.
Someone writes a bad check.
Everybody knows, that it's a done deal. Most companies don't do returns. I don't do any. Everything's sold as is, where is. All sales are final. Yeah. You've got to draw the line, or you open up a whole can of worms, and that's not what you want.
No.
Yeah.
So usually I'll hold the item for a half hour, 40 minutes. There's ATMs all over, so it's not too much of an issue. Yeah. Some people do take cards, and like I said, Venmo, which is, I'm on the cusp of doing Venmo. I don't really want to, but it's just convenient. And the good news is the younger generation is finally figuring out estate sales, and which is fantastic, because before that there wasn't that market, and that market now is being created by that generation, which is great. They're coming in through vintage clothing and sustainability. And now they're realizing that solid wood is a good thing, and that you can buy retail, or you can buy stuff that's not that's just as good as retail at pennies on the dollar, and that's huge. Yeah. And they're reselling. They're getting into Poshmark and a lot of different areas to resell, which is great too. Yeah. So it's really generating quite a market that wasn't there even 4 or 5 years ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is really cool. I've been waiting on y'all.
Well, I will say probably like the main thing that has probably stopped me from going to estate sales is because I just don't carry cash on me a lot. So I feel like that personally was something that was a barrier. I know that I went to a couple with my dad, and for example, last year we bought a $5 Christmas tree. It was one of the last days of the sale, and I was like, we need a new one. My husband wants a 7-foot tree, so
here we go.
Here we go.
$5.
It's amazing what you can get at estate sales.
Yeah.
I mean, for little money. As a company, we have to sell it, and as a customer, you have to buy it. And if you go to enough of them, you can
get what you need,
everything you need. I mean, because you're dealing with a whole house full of stuff. It's that's the other thing is I emphasize is what we don't sell is when we go through, my company goes through everything. And we go in, we go through everything, we set it up, we organize it, we merchandise it, we price it. And in doing that, you'll find what I call is we kind of nickel dime them to death. We take half bottles of cleaning solution, put a beer flat or a box and sell the box for $3. And people buy that stuff because it's economical. And I get rid of it that way, and we're generating some money. And so I'm an equal opportunity seller. I sell everything. The one I don't sell is I tell all my clients to get all the financial papers out. Computer towers, I don't touch because you never know what's on them. And then personal clothing, underwear. Everything else, leave it right where it is. That's the second thing of the list to do and not to do. And don't throw anything away. Because one man's trash is another man's treasure is for real. I have sold stuff that I know of the ability to sell stuff that most people don't have a clue about, which is my years of experience of this. But not only that, but I'm pretty savvy on what is sellable and what's not, and getting the best price for it, which that's what you want to look for in an estate sale company. I sold a box of 70s brownie mix that still had the mix in it for $35.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Yeah. And the guy bought it. I knew he was going to buy it. He came in and bought it and sold it for $150. So
oh my gosh,
there's a whole world of things out there that you would look at as trash, and it is not. So that's really important. You don't have to organize anything. Leave it right where it is. The focus still is on getting what's important to you and your family out, and leave it alone. Leave it right where it sits, because I'm going to go through it all and determine what's really trash and what's not, and then set it up for the sale. And that way, that's what you're hiring me for, is to go through it all and not have to deal with
Think about whether it's going to be important to somebody or not.
You want to focus, like I said, on what's important to you and your family.
Absolutely.
So what are some strategies for emotionally detaching from the items that have sentimental value?
There isn't any. You have to understand that life is letting go.
Take them or leave them, right?
That's why I say that time period and those decisions are really difficult for people. Because everything has an emotional attachment to it. Now, some people are a lot more sentimental than others, and it can be very difficult. Even the most inane things can be very powerful in their attachment to it. Because it has a memory attached to it. And people don't want to let go. It's usually they have to end up deciding that it's just stuff. And it's not as important as
they have the memories that they're going to remember, regardless of whether they still have that item too.
I've even seen people take pictures of stuff. And then get rid of the stuff and have the picture, which is kind of odd, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
It does.
And then you've got,
just seeing it.
You can see it again. But it's almost, everybody has their own kind of nostalgia and whether they're sentimental to the items or not. And that can be, some people don't care. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's the children, and they've got out what they don't want and don't really care about, their mom's dining table. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a whole gamut. It ranges from you got to pry it out of their fingers to they don't care.
Yeah.
And so that is difficult for people, like I've mentioned, but you've just got to realize that the transition's going to happen.
Yeah.
So the timeline for that, how long do people usually want to go through those items? Would you say like a few days, a week, 2 weeks?
They should spend as long as it takes.
Okay.
Because, again, it's the most important thing.
Yeah.
They should start that out and give them plenty of time to do it. Mm-hmm. And then that's when you call me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, if it takes weeks, great. If it takes months, do it. I mean, whatever time it takes to do that. And again, that could be, a week. That could be a year.
How long does it take once they call you for you to get your side of things together and get over there to get the ball rolling?
So what happens after they get everything has everything out, then I come over, take a look at it. That way I can give them a good estimate of what we can do for them. My company, we do a flat fee, which is a little bit different than most. Most do a commission. Mm-hmm. Mine is a flat fee, and it covers the advertising cost and the clean out. Most companies do a percentage, and then they basically they walk after the sale and say, "Here's a guy that'll clean it out for you," which is added cost. Mm-hmm. Or they cherry pick. They give you different fees. Whether it's in advertising. I'm kind of a one-stop shop. That way, you know exactly what the fee is. You know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. The only other thing that we don't add in our fee is a dumpster. And that's an important end of a lot of this because almost all estates are going to need a dumpster. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because people just generate a certain amount of stuff, trash, items that just aren't either sellable or didn't sell. And at that point, again, to make the transition, you got to dispose of it. Yeah. And that's just the reality of it. And it's easy then for me to be able to dispose of it that way. I going to emphasize, I'm going to try to sell it and sell it at any price just to be able to sell it. But there comes a point where you've got to just dispose of it.
Yeah.
And that happens almost to all of them, especially if you've been in the house for 20, 30, 40 years. You've accumulated a lot of stuff, magazines, paper, stuff that just doesn't have a value to it, cardboard.
So do you ever do like mystery boxes or mystery bags where you put it in there and it has
funny
like $5
I have
on
done that from time to time, kind of grab bags. Yeah, I have done that a couple of times, but I don't very often. I have done it.
I was going to say, I bet people love that. I love it. A little grab bag and you're like, oh, what's in here? Like, I'll pay $5 to see what's in this bag.
I have done that a couple of times. Yeah, that's
You're
funny.
more adventurous than me. I would not do that.
Yeah.
Even at the Raven bookstore, they used to do these reading it bags, and then they would kind of put like a hint or a riddle on like what it would be in there and who it might appeal to. And if you did that, I feel like
everybody loves a grab bag.
Everybody loves a grab bag.
They do. Everybody loves them. I'm usually too busy to do that sort of thing because I have to focus on so much stuff.
Yeah.
And to make sure that something is not slipping past me that's worth money.
Yeah.
And that is such a broad spectrum that I have to spend a lot of time paying attention. I usually kind of know, but there's times where I don't know. I'm going to say, I'm going to admit that very openly, and I research it. Then I hunt it down to make sure that we're not selling, Mark Twain's first edition for $1,000 or something that I just am not familiar with.
Yeah.
So a good company will research stuff. I've even said to clients that I don't think this is to be put in a sale.
Yeah,
that's good.
Because there's certain times where there's just not the money that's going to show up in an estate sale to at least the ones I conduct, because it's better off to sell it through another vehicle, whether it's eBay or there's a company called Heritage Auctions, which I recommend, and you can show it to them. If they think it's worth it, they'll tell you to ship it to them. They don't. They just say keep it. So it's really important to have that somebody's paying attention to all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it can be very minute and it can be very big. So there's a broad spectrum of items that I have to pay kind of attention to, and that's kind of my expertise. You want to find a company that has that kind of expertise. That's had a background, like I said, of the experience of antiques and collecting. That way, they are familiar with what they're looking at. There's very few things that I haven't seen.
Mm-hmm. What would you say is the most valuable item that you have seen at an estate sale?
Well, there's companies that deal with the really high end estate sales. The highest thing I think I've ever sold outside of a car was about $20,000 on a piece of pottery.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was I immediately knew it was something, but I did a little research on it.
Yeah.
And it was Indian pottery.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's awesome. So what is the main difference between an auction, an estate sale, and a garage sale?
Okay, so with an auction, and there are times where I've said to people that I think an auction is a better fit. Auctions, the problem with auctions is you have the item up for sale, and the level of the price can be really up or down. Mm-hmm. It kind of depends. It takes two people to make the price go, and sometimes we don't have that. Then let's say you've got this vase and it's up for auctions and nobody's paying attention, or you've got one guy bidding and nobody else likes it and nobody wants it. Okay, so it's $5. Well, in a estate sale, I've got $25 on it, and you don't have that kind of ability to lose the money there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So auctions are great for different environments outside the city. Farm settings where you've got a lot of big, heavy stuff. Mm-hmm. That is where you want an auction.
Yeah.
Estate sale, I've done out in the country, but estate sales are better at getting the price that I put on it. Auctions, there's so much volatility at price level that it's really hard to say what it's going to go for.
Yeah, fair enough.
Where I've got a pretty good idea what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Garage sales, they're mainly that situation's stuff that they don't want, kids stuff. What we do is the whole house.
Yeah.
They're doing their
particular items.
Yeah, they're kids that grew out of their clothing.
Yeah.
Stuff that that they decided they didn't want for one reason or another, and usually small, tiny. It's not
smaller scale for
smaller
sure.
Scale, much smaller scale. Yeah. I hate to say that we're a glorified garage sale, but we're so much bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we deal in such large quantities of,
homes can be huge.
Oh, yeah.
I've
I've done, whether it's a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot house and it was full.
And you're touching every part of it.
Yeah, we're actually touching it 3 times.
Yeah.
And so it can be a lot of stuff, and it could be, a lot of items to pertain to.
Yeah.
We had a sale just recently, and I had 60 bars of soap.
Wow. Somebody got them on sale.
It can range to that, to the high end jewelry or furniture or art pieces.
Yeah.
So it ranges. The range is so huge.
So what's your favorite thing that you've seen so far? Or you can give a couple different things.
I've seen some pretty crazy environments. I did a couple hoarder situations, which is just
memorable.
I've cleared out a hoarder house before.
I can't.
It's
if you haven't
lot.
done it,
Yeah.
you just don't. You can't. It's a terrible thing. The illness is just it's so terrible.
Yeah.
These people are so compulsive and they're not free at all. It's just a terrible disease.
Yeah.
I also seen where I've done a lot of professors' houses, and what happens is it's really odd because they all kind of have the same stuff. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of books. They have every piece of paper they ever saw. They have, and one I had he was the chair of he was a geologist. We had, I don't know, like 25,000 rocks.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
We had 25,000 maps. His whole life was geology. So he had his whole life collection of his work there. Yeah. And we sold it all, believe it or not. People really liked rocks. It was great. And that's one of the things we try to do is get the items to somewhere where they have another life.
Yeah.
And that's important to me. It should be important to any estate sale business, as opposed to just throwing it away in the landfill. I'm trying my best to hook it up with people that would use it and enjoy it.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
And appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of collections. We had a sale, and the woman had over, I would guess somewhere around 5,000 or 6,000 rabbits, of all forms.
Wow.
I've seen thousands. One lady had 1,000 or 2,000 frogs.
Oh my gosh.
There's collections that you run across. It's pretty crazy.
Huh.
I did a sale where I came in and I saw a lot of boxes, and she said, "Well, I have a few books," and I said, "Okay," and I didn't really recognize that all these boxes were full of books, and she had a lot of boxes, and so we started going through them, and it turns out they were all cookbooks. She had 10,000 cookbooks.
I wonder if she made all those meals.
Oh my gosh.
It was, again, the act, the journey.
Yeah.
It was not the destination.
Yeah.
It was kind of like when you got the next bunch, she
Would get something.
we ended up selling about half of them. Then I had a guy come in very last day and said, "I'll give you a couple $100 for all of them," and I couldn't get yes out fast enough. and the guy shows up with 4 guys, and it took him 6 hours and about 20 truckloads to get those out of there.
Wow.
And I asked him, he was an ex-chef, and he said he was going to start a library, and I said, "I bet you are." And so I've seen some pretty crazy stuff.
But that's cool. It's getting reused.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And
We
appreciated.
didn't throw one book away.
Yeah.
Which was I said to my partner, God was watching out after us because I didn't. I knew we were in real trouble when I figured out and they were all cookbooks. I thought we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
It was.
They're all the same thing.
Yeah, it was all
in
the same.
different ways.
But people loved cookbooks. I mean, they bought the heck. And
No, I love looking at the pictures. I mean, if they're good, and then I actually went up to Meadowlark Estates. My grandma knew somebody that had a whole wall full of cookbooks, and she knew I liked to cook, and she said, "She's going to be giving away some of these. Do you want to come look at them?" And I said, "Sure." This lady also had over 40 cookbooks just for making chocolate.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't necessarily like chocolate too much. I mean, ever since I was pregnant, I now like chocolate more. But back then, I was like, I don't need 40 cookbooks of making chocolate.
Could you imagine 10,000?
Oh my gosh!
It was at every form, every kind of food, everything you could think of that she had one.
Wow!
And
oh my gosh.
and we had that place. In fact, they sold that place. We had that place cleared out all in 10 days.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it really opened her up. I mean, it was. I was even shocked at what we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really awesome for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did amazing situation. We really helped her out.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we could just keep talking and talking, but we're at the time. If you wanted to leave everybody with just one thing about estate sales, what would it be?
That's a good question. It's just stuff.
It's just stuff.
It's just stuff.
Should we put that on a mug?
Yeah, we should.
Or on your neon sign.
Yeah, on your neon sign. It's just stuff.
Because it's so difficult for people to let go.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking to watch it sometimes.
Yeah.
It really is. sometimes this job can be kind of melancholy because you see the emotions, you see the end of people's lives.
Yeah.
You see I've never met them, but I can tell you what they ate, what they enjoyed, hobbies, what they read, where they traveled. I mean, all the things about them. And it's on the one hand, it's very interesting. On the other hand, it can be a little melancholy, you know? And that can be, difficult to sometimes deal with. That's this end of the state sale business.
Yeah.
But be prepared. It's going to happen. It's again when you're more prepared or you're realistically open about what's going to happen, as opposed to putting your head in the sand saying I don't want to deal with it. And that is probably the best advice is the quicker you come to that realization and deal with it, the better.
Yeah.
Because I've seen situations where they had a month to get out.
Wow.
And they were going to foreclose on the house, and they had to sell the house. Well, there was no way that was going to happen.
Yeah.
If they had done it earlier, and it was because he was resistant, the father was resistant. And again, these people, it's your home.
Yeah.
It's your history. It's your life. And it's really hard to walk away from that sometimes. Yeah. And that's probably the best advice is when I say it's just stuff is because what do you say to somebody that's had something that was given to them by their grandmother and had it for 60 years?
Yeah.
There's not much you're going to say about, why that you should let that go.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen. I mean, and that's where you have to be realistic about what's going to happen and accept it. And that's hard for people. And, I got a basement myself that needs cleaning.
We all have those areas. Mine's the garage right now. So,
I mean, and everybody, there's no shame in this game. You know, everybody does this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And to say that they don't,
you better look in the mirror, right?
You better look in your drawers.
Everybody at least has a junk drawer, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And so you've got to understand that everybody does it and it's okay.
Yeah.
And, but now's the time to do something about it.
Yeah.
And it's to liberate you to move on to the next transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's to lighten your load. You know? Sometimes getting rid of all your stuff makes you feel all right.
And probably helps your family out too.
Yeah.
So,
you don't want to leave it to your family.
No.
That's the other issue.
Yeah.
You want to, because it's actually a burden on them.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they don't know how to do it. So many people are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I come in, I'm like, we're going to stop that. It's okay to be overwhelmed and we'll take care of it from here.
Awesome.
And that really helps out people immensely.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. This has been great. I feel like I could just have so many questions. I almost need to just call you later.
We should actually do another one because there are so many aspects to this that particularly in some of the questions on what companies to hire, what companies not to hire, what they're doing, what they're not doing, what they're going to do for you. I mean, there's so many aspects of this. And whether or not it's in your hands or an executor, there's that. There's a lot of aspects.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do a deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just not. People don't realize how extensive this is and how it, like, again, we're back. It has so many components: emotional, financial, family. There's a lot of aspects and components that
it's a process, and that's why they should give you an estate sale company a call to help them out and navigate the process.
Yes, exactly. So, it is a process.
Yeah.
And that's what we do is we help you with that process and make sure that that you can navigate that process.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you to the Lawrence Public Library for letting us use this space. But
that's all we have.
Signing out.
Thanks for joining us on Lawrence Real and Local. Keeping It Real podcast. We appreciate our guests taking the time to join us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you've enjoyed today's episode.
For more information, please visit us on the web at www.lawrencerealtor.com. And remember, whether you are buying, selling, or simply dreaming of your future home, we're here to help. Until next time, keep it real
And happy house hunting.